La Nina has been officially declared finished by the Climate Prediction Center. They have had enough observations over the last 3 months to determine that it has, in fact, went into a ENSO neutral pattern, as we call it. Where it's not too warm, not too cold, kind of just right. And here's the area, of course, that we look for ENSO right here, the El Nino Southern Oscillation. For those of you who don't know what that means. And you can see here with our current temperature anomalies. Now, keep in mind, they measure these anomalies over a period of about 3 months in several Nino regions. And if we look at the Nino regions right now, they are running a little bit above average right now. Now, that doesn't mean that we're in an El Nino. Now, this has been more of a recent trend in the last few months, so it hasn't. The anomalies haven't been as such to where this would be declared an El Nino. So with more the ENSO now, with the neutral ENSO, we still have kind of a lag in atmospheric response. So we're probably going to continue to see some La Nina like effects even as we go into the spring, and probably mid to late spring we'll probably see more of the ENSO neutral. But even with that in mind, here's what we do know. Gulf of Mexico is boiling right now. The Gulf of Mexico is well above average. Lots of oceanic heat content, which of course that means richer moisture, more instability. Get a storm to come through there and start bringing that into the flow. You can get severe weather. You can get winter, significant winter weather, and you also get some significant flooding events with all the available moisture content in the atmosphere. But it is really warm down there for early to mid-March, anomalously warm. And then here, southwest of Alaska, we have another teleconnection coming in here. There's a ridge developing, and we call it with this warm ridge, kind of this horseshoe ridge shaped ridge that's coming in there, drives warmer temperatures up into Alaska and northwestern Canada. But look at the west coast. What goes up must come down. So you have a trough side to the ridge. Much colder waters off the coast of California, and that right there, that creates a trough that then, because of the pattern that we have in the atmosphere, then you got all this warm water in the southeast. So the southeast ridge can develop, and so you take the jet stream that goes down, produces cooler than average temperatures in the west, and then pulls more of a ridge or even kind of a semi-zonal type flow across the rest of the country. What does that mean? That means for now, and I didn't pull up the other teleconnections for lack of time here, but what we got going is the pattern for the moment. For the near time is a little bit colder over the east due to a stratospheric warming event, and kind of this La Nina pattern. The influence of La Nina is kind of calming the jet down a little bit, and so we put that with kind of a negative Arctic oscillation pattern, and we get kind of this troughiness that we're going to have over the east all the way into next week. Now, that's going to mean colder than average temperatures for much of the east. The south will probably escape it, and that's right where the jet stream is going to be kind of the difference between the warm and the cold is going to kind of be setting up. So there's going to be some opportunities for flooding rains, even some severe weather down in the southeast, which is, of course, not unusual this time of the year. That's one area you would find it, and pulling north and west and east with time. So what will happen particularly after next week, the pattern will go kind of more west to east across the country. With still a bit of a troughiness in the west, so you still got a little bit of an amplified flow. And as we go into April, temperatures will begin to moderate, and so will the weather. I see no real major reason to believe that the Gulf of Mexico is not going to continue to be well above average. The cold fronts that we have coming through are not going to make much of an impact on the Gulf of Mexico. And like I said, eventually they will push out, and we will return to warmer weather across the east with time for a good portion of the east. And so this is something to watch. Again, the players are on the field, but the overall trough pattern in the west, southeast ridge in the east, set up that battleground in between them, and you can have so we got a little bit more colder air to work with here during this next upcoming week. So the wintry side of these storm systems will have a little more chance to be active, and largely keep the severe weather down into the southeast.